Every fat loss plan you have ever tried was designed for someone with 2 free hours a day, a fully stocked kitchen, and a job that ends at 5. That is not a criticism. That is just the reality of where most fitness advice comes from, and it is exactly why it keeps failing people who actually have lives. Today we are replacing all of it with 3 rules. 3 things that, according to the research, cover 80% of your fat loss results. Everything else is built on top of these, but none of it works until you have these 3 locked in. The fitness industry does not ignore busy people by accident. Complicated advice sells programs. Simple advice does not. So today we are giving you the simple version, backed by the actual science, or not the marketing. The first thing that moves the needle, and the one most fitness content completely misrepresents, is protein. Not because protein builds muscle, though it does, but because protein does 3 separate jobs at the same time. For someone with no spare time, one tool doing 3 things is exactly the kind of efficiency that actually works. Job 1 is satiety. When you eat protein, your body releases glucagon-like peptide 1 and peptide tyrosine, the hormones that tell your brain the eating is done. A 2023 meta-analysis confirmed that higher protein meals consistently produce greater fullness and lower hunger than carbohydrate or fat-matched meals across clinical trials. What that means in real life is a higher protein breakfast at 7 a.m. makes it significantly harder to lose your mind at the vending machine by 10:30. Not because you became more disciplined overnight, because biology is doing the work for you. Job 2 is thermogenesis. When your body digests protein, it burns more calories completing that job than it burns digesting anything else. The thermic effect of protein sits between 20 and 30% of its calorie content. Fat is 0 to 3%. Carbs are 5 to 10. So out of every 100 calories of chicken you eat, 20 to 30 of those get burned just breaking it down. That advantage costs you nothing. It just happens every time you eat. Job 3 is muscle preservation. This one matters 6 months from now. When you are eating less than you burn, your body pulls energy from 2 sources, fat stores and muscle tissue. Low protein, and that ratio shifts hard toward muscle. A 2024 meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials found that protein intakes of 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight per day preserved lean mass significantly better than standard protein intakes during a calorie deficit. Lose muscle and your resting metabolism slows. Protect muscle and it keeps burning. If you weigh around 160 pounds, that target lands between 80 and 115 grams of protein per day. 3 eggs is 18 grams. A can of tuna is 25. A chicken breast at dinner is 45. You're already most of the way there before you even try. The practical rule is simple. Every meal has a protein source on the plate. No tracking, no app. Just ask one question before you eat. Where is the protein? That single habit outperforms most things on this list. Rule 2 is the one that surprises people because it has nothing to do with what you eat or how you move. Rule 2 is sleep. And the reason sleep belongs on this list is not because it feels restorative or because wellness influencers say so. It is because a study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine put 2 groups of overweight adults on identical calorie-restricted diets. Had one group sleep 8.5 hours and the other sleep 5.5. And the short sleep group lost 55% less fat. Same food, same deficit, 55% less fat, purely because of sleep duration. Here's the mechanism. Sleep deprivation raises ghrelin, the hormone responsible for hunger, and suppresses leptin, which signals fullness. A University of Chicago study measured these hormones after just 2 consecutive nights of sleeping around 4 hours and found leptin dropped 18% while ghrelin jumped 28%. The sleep-restricted subjects also specifically craved high-carbohydrate food. So after 2 bad nights, your brain is biologically wired to want more food and feel less satisfied when you get it. That is not a willpower failure. That is a hormonal state. And no amount of discipline overrides hormonal states long-term. If you've been grinding through a calorie deficit on 5 hours of sleep and wondering why nothing is moving, congratulations, you found the problem. If you are finding this useful, hit subscribe because next week we are going deeper into exactly how to structure your meals for maximum protein in under 10 minutes of prep. The minimum effective threshold is 7 hours according to the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. Below 7 is where the metabolic consequences compound. 2 changes that work specifically for busy people. First, fix your wake time and protect it, including weekends. Your fat-burning hormones operate on a circadian clock, and consistency of wake time matters more than total sleep hours for keeping that rhythm intact. Second, cut screens 60 minutes before bed. Blue light exposure in that final hour delays sleep onset and reduces deep sleep duration. And deep sleep is where the hormonal restoration actually happens. Low effort, high return. Rule 3 is the one everyone thinks they understand. You need a calorie deficit to lose fat. That part nobody argues with. The part that destroys busy people is how they try to create it. The 1200 calorie crash. The food scale. The tracking app that becomes a part-time job. The plan that holds together for 11 days until one late meeting ruins dinner and the whole thing collapses. Here's why extreme deficits specifically backfire for people who are already under pressure. Severe caloric restriction spikes cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Cortisol signals the body to retain fat, particularly around the midsection, while simultaneously breaking down muscle tissue. A 2015 PMC study confirmed that strict caloric restriction combined with obsessive monitoring produced measurable cortisol elevation in participants. So the harder you cut, the more your body fights back. You are hungry and your body is actively protecting its fat stores at the same time. Not a great combination. The research consistently points to 300 to 500 calories below maintenance as the target range, small enough to be sustainable, large enough to produce consistent fat loss, and small enough that cortisol stays manageable. At a 500-calorie daily deficit, you are generating roughly 1 pound of fat loss per week. That sounds slow until you actually run the numbers. 12 weeks is 12 pounds. 24 weeks is 24 pounds. Without going to bed, starving. Without burning out by week 3. Without the rebound that follows every crash diet. For busy people who do not want to track, and tracking can itself elevate cortisol, which is the exact opposite of what we are going for. 2 practical moves create most of your deficit without counting a single number. First, reduce the portion of your starchy carbohydrate at each meal by roughly 1/4. Not eliminating carbs, not cutting food groups, just slightly less rice, slightly fewer fries. That adjustment alone compounds significantly over 12 weeks. Second, cut 1 liquid calorie source from your day. CDC dietary survey data shows the average American consumes 283 calories per day from beverages alone. 1 soda swap to sparkling water handles most of your daily deficit before you touch a single bite of food. Nobody in the fitness space talks about that because it is too simple to sell. Here's why these 3 and not the 20 other things the internet tells you are essential. If protein is handled, sleep is protected, and the deficit is real but not extreme, every other strategy you try works better on top of this foundation. Strength training responds better when protein is adequate and sleep is sufficient. Walking habits compound faster when cortisol is not elevated from crash dieting. Every advanced tool is built on these 3 things, but if this foundation is broken, no advanced tool saves you. That is the Pareto principle applied directly to fat loss. 80% of the result comes from these 3 variables. The research supports it. Week 1, pick 2. Protein at every meal. No counting, just ask where's the protein before you sit down. And 1 sleep change. Either lock in a consistent wake time or cut screens 60 minutes before bed. Not both. 1. The deficit piece comes in week 2 once the first 2 habits have started to feel automatic. Stacking all 3 at once is how busy people crash by day 8. Sequencing them is how busy people build something that actually holds past week 2. Drop a comment and tell us which of these 3 you have been missing. And if you want the next step, specifically how to hit your protein target every single day in under 10 minutes of actual prep time, that video is right here.